This video was sponsored by Squarespace. Last year, I made an air conditioner out of clay. And while it worked, it wasn't exactly functional.
21.5 Celsius.
What was incredible though was the mountains of feedback that I got on my design. So here I am back again and ready for the challenge. So there are 3 things that I want to prioritize this time around. Functionality, we gotta up the functionality a little bit. I also want it to have a small footprint, and beauty. It needs to stand up as a beautiful object in its own right. So it was back to the drawing board, and this time I found a new designer doing some incredible work. So Kiln is a company founded by Monish Sirapurapu. I'm so sorry, Monish. It's a company from India that uses terracotta tubes and like a pump system to throw water over the tubes. They're positioned towards the wind, so when the wind blows through, it cools. And they've measured up to 7 degrees Celsius cooler. That is huge. So my goal here is to sort of size down this design so that it can fit in my bedroom. My first design was a lot like Kiln's and a lot like my previous design. Basically, it's extruded tubes corralled into some sort of diamond shape that could be made out of wood or metal. This would work really well for air to flow through with a fan, which, by the way, that was my most common bit of feedback on the last video, so thank you so much for that. My only issue with this design, however, is there's no place to hide the pump's tube. Now, this goes against my goal of creating a beautiful sculptural object, so this one can't work. My second design was inspired by the concept of a beehive, which is a word that was very often used to describe Kiln's work, but my tubes would be faced in a different direction. So I could throw on the wheel some donut shapes and then cut holes in them to let the air flow through. Then they would be stacked up and there would be like a dish at the bottom to collect the flowing water, and the pump's tube would be hidden right in the middle of the donuts. Now, the cut holes would provide really good airflow, but since I'm planning for the air to come from just one direction from a fan, I think I'd prefer to go back to that tube shape for maximum airflow. Okay, and then my last design is sort of like a wall-mounted deal. Extruded tubes clustered together to fit like the width of a fan, so you have a lot of airflow going through. They could be made like elements so that they could fit together, so you could really make this quite long, like the full length of the wall. And the pump's tube could nestle just between 2 of these tubes and be pretty well hidden. Now, I really like this idea until I started thinking about how I would have to tile the wall in order to not get any water damage on the wall, as well as make a sort of trough at the bottom to collect all of the flowing water, which all of that sounds very complicated and annoying, and considering that I'm only going to be using this probably like 2 months out of the year, doesn't feel very practical. So I decided to go with my second design. That is the beehive design. That is the one that I find to be the most beautiful, that I'm most excited to try making that one. And I think as long as I cut enough holes, there's going to be plenty of circulation. But please go ahead and steal all of my designs. I would love to see your versions of this project. So let's get into it. Throwing on bats. And one thing about me, if you've been watching for a while, you may have noticed, always start with the hardest one first. I don't know why. It just works best. So I've got my homemade bat here. If you want to see me make that, that's in this video. I want this one to be 35 centimeters, and my bats are only 30. So it's gonna be basically this whole bat. And also, this is going to be messy as heck. Let's try that again. Doesn't stick so well to this material, huh? No, you have to stick. Let me try and dry this out a little bit first. Okay, I just squished out some of the moisture. This is such a fail. This is not what I wanted. I ran out of clay and the walls are too thin to have any sort of structural integrity. And now it's just like falling apart. And this tube is way too small. So let's try it again. This is a fail. It's just not enough clay. Let me just break my rule and I'm gonna start with a smaller one. At least we know how much clay we need, right? I worried for a moment there that I forgot how to make a donut, but I just needed more clay. It is 24, which is 2 centimeters larger, but it's fine. Ta-da! Let's take a little break to talk about today's sponsor, Squarespace. Now, if you've never heard about Squarespace before, they are an all-in-one website platform that artists and entrepreneurs use to stand out online. I've personally been using Squarespace ever since I started my online business, and I'm still using them for my website today. There are a few things that I love about Squarespace, one of which is their online store, where you can sell pretty much anything: physical goods, online classes, services, and even memberships. 2, they just launched a really cool AI feature called Squarespace Blueprint that makes setting up your website, tailoring your brand, and optimizing for SEO even easier. And 3, once you have that online store set up, Squarespace offers really flexible payment options, so your customers can have a seamless ordering experience using PayPal, credit cards, Apple Pay, or even Afterpay. So if you're ready to take selling pottery to the next level, or you're just looking for an online home for your art, I really recommend Squarespace because they are going to make your website look really beautiful really easily. So head to squarespace.com right now for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/potterytothepeople for 10% off your very first website or domain. Now let's get back to our project. Okay, let's talk about how yesterday went. This big guy, I think I re-threw him either 4 or 5 times. And it's still not exactly perfect, but it was like the most I could do. I was getting so tired. My knuckles are all red and sore now because just centering that grog for so long. I also cut my finger on the wire tool. I really messed myself up yesterday trying to rethrow this piece over and over and over again. It was always too little clay. This last piece I threw with 4 kilo, which is definitely the most I've ever thrown with. I was struggling so hard to get it centered. All of these were a piece of cake. All of these I just threw once. It was just this bastard at the end. I don't know why it was so hard for me, but it really, really was. And then the other thing I threw was this. We're not going to comment on the shape of this, but this is the pole that is going to hold them all up. What I need to do today, I do need to trim these all, but I also need to throw the basin that's going to collect all of the water. And maybe if I'm lucky, we can start assembling these together. They're a little wet right now, so let's see. Definitely have one bad side. Where's it? Here. It's not perfect. Could be better. But I don't think I need to remake it at least. I hope it's thick enough. I hope I'm not going to cut through it when I cut it off. You can only tell that it's irregular when it's turning, right? Although, is it deep enough? Ooh. Maybe add some coils to it. space. Okay, I really wanted to start assembling everything today, but everything is just too wet still. I don't know, it's very damp down here. I've got a fan going, I've got a dehydrator going, and still nothing dries. So I'm going to let these all dry out. I mean, what's good is I got everything trimmed. I even got this guy carved out. It should dry nice and evenly overnight. And then tomorrow we can do the fun part. We're gonna assemble and cut the holes and finish everything up, hopefully. Theoretically, I think we should be able to finish everything up tomorrow. The pieces that aren't wonky are looking really cute. This guy, and then like repeated over and over and over again. I think it's gonna be cute. Ironically, it's very cold outside today. Step number 1, trim this bad boy. And I think I'm also going to add some coils to the edge to make them a little bit taller. Assemble, cut the holes, finish everything up. But I suspect we're gonna have to do that tomorrow. Let's see. Okay, so this is going to be the tube, the fountain tube. I need to decide which one of these is the prettiest because that's going to be the one on top. The bubble on this one is way thicker, which is nice, but it's also the prettiest. I just don't know if I should like poke some holes on the sides because what I'm worried about, if any part of the piece is like slightly angled, it's going to only come down one side. Now, if I poke some holes in the side of it, it will stream down more evenly, but I don't know. I'm gonna think about it. But in the meantime, I do have this hole cutter that is basically the perfect thickness of the tube. If you don't have a hole cutter like this, you can use a needle tool, or you can just do it on the wheel with a needle tool. And I'm just gonna try and center it. It's not super important because the water is going to be filling this basin, but the neater we can get it, the better. So then this is gonna go like this. The next one should go like this, I guess. I'm wondering right now even if I should even attach them together. Does that make sense? It's a proper beehive, is it not? And then there's gonna be water. Like the reason I'm thinking I shouldn't attach them together because I'm really worried about this water flowing thing. And if they're not attached, I can always like squiggle this. I think the bottom ones definitely do need to be attached together. Otherwise they'll fall. So this guy is gonna be here. And then the rest need to go. So I can't put much weight on it. Hey, I can't let go, but it's fitting, like it's resting on the inside bit, so that's good. Whew, okay. I wish I could ask you guys. I need like an in-video poll. Should I stack them or should I connect them? Is there any benefit to either? The only thing I'm thinking of right now is if I don't attach them, like moving it, when I go to grab it, I might forget that they're detached and then it's gonna be like, like it looks like one object, so maybe it should be one object. This is like to use the tape or not to use the tape all over on the cardboard project. Okay, we're gonna attach them all because that's the original plan. It makes sense visually. They look like they should be attached, but we're gonna leave the last one off because that's going to allow for these micro adjustments to allow the water to flow evenly. But I need to poke the holes before I attach them together. I was hoping I could finish today, but I do need to wait one more day to finish this up completely. This baby's completely done. He can start drying out. This guy, because I added some coils to him, it's like very unevenly wet right now. Like this bottom part is quite dry and the coils are wet. And I want to trim it back a little bit more. I want to smooth it out a little bit. So I need this to homogenize under plastic for 24 hours and then it should be good to trim tomorrow and then I can attach this baby. Okay, friends, this is the hive. I'm just going to leave it wrapped up. This is still wrapped up from yesterday. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to leave them under plastic for maybe 2 days or something, just so everything is under control. This is quite a complicated build. Then I'll slow dry them maybe over a week or two, and I'll get back to you with the firing. Firing is going to be a little interesting with these ones, but I'll see you then. Okay, so I'm a little worried about this one because I'm not 100% sure it was dry. I did candle it. I'm a little worried that I'm gonna open this and it's going to be like a pile of rubble. Okay. Oh, there's a little crack. You can always put some silicone in if it leaks. I have to glaze this. The plan is to do something like this, but it's going to look slightly different because it's going to be a lower temperature. And then I have to figure out also how I'm going to glaze it. Well. Okay, so it's the next day. We need to talk about the slight disaster that is on my table right now. So I was slow drying it under some cloth, but apparently it wasn't slow enough because as soon as I put it on the kiln to dry fully, it started to fall apart. I didn't even know that that was cracked in half. Yeah. He did not dry well. And then this one, this was the first to fall off. This was the top one and I didn't know it was gonna fall off, so I dropped it on the table and this part is completely smashed. Yeah, so these parts are still attached, and the good thing is like these are the parts that actually do need to stay attached. The rest can just be stacked. Theoretically, it can still function with all these flaws. Like it's just a structure to catch the water. So we're gonna go ahead and fire it and, you know, see what survives, see if we can piece it together. Should I try? I just realized I actually have some, this is called Thermofix. It's like a bisque fix. Let's try on this one because it's completely in half and it's a clean cut. I don't know about this one because it's such a messy cut here. Let's see if that does anything. Okay, let's open the kiln and see how the basin is faring. I suspect more cracks. Cracks. But the blue is beautiful. He's pretty cracked, but there's nothing a little bit of silicone can't fix. We're going to fire now to 1,000 degrees Celsius. This is approximately 200 degrees below vitrification temperature. So it will be a little bit stronger than a bisque, but it will stay unvitrified. That's the whole idea. That's the whole idea, is that it's porous. We survived. This feels connected. The crack is real. But it was there before, we're not surprised. Okay, well, the bisque fix worked. I just fixed this one piece. These pieces were like shattered, basically. But this is solid, you can see it though. You can see where I splattered the bisque fix. Maybe I can like sand that off. Okay, we have some major cracking here. This is really interesting. This crack right here was cracked during the drying and we fixed it with bisque fix. There must be some tension going on here that this pot does not want to exist in the way that it's existing, because that spurred this new crack here because this was not movable anymore. So, but it is staying together. Cracks or no, we're going to test this out and see if it's actually going to cool a room. Oh. Could be worse. Nice. We got it. Okay. That went smoother than I feared. Let's try it out. Welcome to my bedroom. I wanted to test it in here because this is probably the room that we would be using this. Please ignore the fact that we don't have a baseboard and we have disgusting wallpaper. This whole house is a work in progress, but let's test this out. So before I do anything, I have a digital thermometer this time so I can read better the results. It's 23 degrees right now in here. I know that Celsius, 23 degrees is not hot. I know, but we're in Germany and this is what I'm working with. This is what the temperature is. It's a little bit hotter outside. That's what the temperature is. There's no hotter days on the horizon, so I want to test it out today. Regardless, it should still cool the room, or at least that's the hope. So let's fill it up and see if the fountain works first of all. I want to submerge this. Ooh, we're leaking. Okay, should we see if it works? Works being a relative term at this point. Everything that could have gone wrong kind of has, hasn't it? Oh, 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 oh. Here she comes. Oh, look at him go! How cute is that? I just grabbed a rock from the garden because just the way the tube is angled, it doesn't stay all the way down. There we go. I mean, the problem is it's broken. Because this is also porous, it should wick through the whole piece. I can see through the cracks here, there's actually some water pooling in here, which is exciting. So we're just gonna leave it. I'm gonna add some more water because it is, it is dripping out at an alarming rate. And then the creme de la creme, what I actually forgot to do last time and was the absolute most commented suggestion, which thank you for that, is a fan. This is turning into quite a contraption. So I'm just gonna leave this here. I'm just gonna let it run now and see if it cools the room. Feels cool, but it could just be the fan. It does feel cooler in this room. It does feel a lot more humid though. So while building this was a chaotic mess and it's leaking and it's not looking very good. It does work. We're at 19.2 degrees Celsius, and it's a little bit hotter out now. It's been 3 hours, so it's 5 p.m. right now, and it's like 29 degrees outside or something like that. Normally, this room would heat up in the afternoon because the evening sun kind of comes through here. So the fact that the temperature has decreased, it's only a couple of degrees, but the fact that it has decreased at all, I think is actually very exciting. So while I would definitely need to recreate this if I'm going to actually use it, it does work. So let me know if you think I should redesign it. I mean, I think that this and attaching these together definitely doesn't work. I would definitely keep them separate next time. So let me know, give me any tips that you might have. Also against humidity, like should I open a window? Should I use the fan? Maybe if I had put it in like an open window or something, that would be better. Yeah, let me know if you're interested in a 3.0. I definitely could keep iterating on this project. I don't know why I always think that I can make it in one go. Obviously not. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, friends.